Hi, everyone. Today on the Data Scientist podcast, we have Curtis Boyd with us, calling from Los Angeles. He is the founder of Objection.co. Curtis, why don't you introduce yourself? We're very happy to have you here with us today.
Sure. Thanks for having me. So I build technology to identify fake reviews for both businesses and consumers on online websites like Yelp and Google and TripAdvisor. Our company's mission is really to clean up the online marketplace to make it a better shopping and better selling experience for both consumers and businesses.
Amazing. And just to clarify something, sorry, I forgot to mention this earlier. You're a data scientist like myself, right?
I am. My background, funny enough, isn't in computer science.
hmm
I took a different route and landed here almost out of necessity. About 9 years ago, I was a nursing assistant in a hospital. A doctor, one day started complaining about fake reviews, and he challenged me to remove some of his fake reviews, and he paid me really well for it. And then I ended up going into reputation consulting. And one doctor turned into hundreds of doctors. Doctors turned into lawyers and contractors and other types of businesses. And I became, a reputation consultant. I realized that the type of work I was doing as a reputation consultant could be automated, right, using a
hmm
computer server. So I went to school to learn how to code, and
Okay.
that's kind of the very beginning of my data science career. Um, as I became really skilled in learning how to use Python to web scrape and to collect reviews and to analyze reviews and text, and
hmm
to look at, profile behavior, I started getting more and more into data science. I went back to school
hmm
again for machine learning and AI, and then I started creating my own models within NLP, text classification, and a few years later, here I am now with a tech startup in AI and NLP.
That's fascinating. So, as you might know, some of our listeners, they're thinking to switch to data science and pursue a new career. Um, what would you advise them? How difficult is it to do that?
Oh man, it's really difficult, but it's really rewarding.
Not very encouraging.
If it were easy, everyone would be doing it, right? And that's the true with anything. I mean, if you're passionate about what you do, how hard it is isn't important. I mean, it's more if how to say this. You should be in love with the problem, right?
hmm
There should be a problem that you are really passionate about solving that requires artificial intelligence, that
Yeah.
requires data, right? and at that point, it's just a stepping stone to solving that problem, thinking of using AI as a tool, right,
hmm
as a tool in your belt to solve a particular problem. Now, when I thought the problem, when take a look at the problem I wanted to solve, which is fake reviews and how to detect them, I knew that I could use my human eyes and I could click, copy paste into CSVs,
hmm
prepare data, create algorithms or logarithmic formulas to, show the statistics of this
hmm
happening. And it would take hours and hours just for one report.
Yeah.
Or I could use AI, right? I could
Yeah.
use automation to scrape the reviews, and then I could create NLP formulas. I could create other types of text classification to make predictor models that would do the work for me and help me scale my business, right? To
hmm
help me scale both vertically and horizontally. So, yeah, I not going to try and BS anyone here. Full transparency, learning this stuff is not easy, and it
hmm
takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of practice. Sometimes when I'm debugging a Python script or a JavaScript script, I'll want to pull my hair out. Look how much hair I have up here. I feel like I'm losing. I feel like I'm losing hair, but I love it, and it's what I love spending my time on. So, the labor of love, right? It's very difficult, but it's very fun and rewarding for me. So I certainly enjoy it. And in even earlier part, it's been very financially rewarding as well. The quality of my life has improved drastically. I was, making $11 an hour and change, working as a nursing assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're past 7 million. We're past a million ARR, which is annual reoccurring revenue. Being able to use data and selling it, so it's very financially rewarding as well.
Yes, I think that's two main things stand out. That's first of all, you really have to like it. You shouldn't be in data science only because of the financial incentives, but the financial incentives are definitely very strong, right? So right now the market is very good. I'm based in London. I know you're based in Los Angeles. How's the data science space there?
LA is really cool. There's such a neat group of people here. COVID's kind of, we're starting to come out of our shell here. I heard in London they just, lengthened the lockdowns, and I'm sorry to hear about that. I hope
Oh no,
everyone's
actually now they're opening up right
oh,
now.
good, good. Well, I hope everyone's okay over there. Here, we're going out of, there's we're starting to, get to a point where we may not need masks pretty soon,
Mm-hmm.
which is really great. So we're just starting to go to networking events again. We're just starting to, hang out in real life, which is great. Um, the business community here in Los Angeles is still very strong. There's lots of networking groups. There's lots of places to come together. Now, the data science community here isn't nearly as strong as it is in like Palo Alto or San
Mm-hmm.
Francisco, where I feel like everyone and their brother and sister is a data scientist.
Yeah.
But even here in Los Angeles, we have Playa Vista, which is kind of, we call it Silicon Beach. A lot of great tech startups out here, and certainly a lot of budding entrepreneurs who are going into data science and learning how to train models based off of the data that they have recently collected, and then trying to productize it,
Mm-hmm.
make turn this raw data into something useful for someone, that's in a new way. And I think people are realizing that there's so much data out there. It's just how can you make this data worth it to someone else, right? In a
Mm-hmm.
way that they can't do themselves, in a way that's new and it's fresh. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity out there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's great to hear. So things are looking positive in many different geographical territories. And I think something which I found fascinating about your story is that not only you train yourself to become a data scientist, but now you're also an entrepreneur, right? So it has been going up and up and up for you. So what inspired you to do that? Was it a natural evolution of what you were doing previously?
Yeah, exactly. So, when I became a nursing assistant, then I went into reputation consultant because I was able to help a doctor on the floor, like at the hospital. He had his issues. I starting going into like coding to work for businesses. I was just working
Hmm.
for businesses. I was just helping business owners, remove removable reviews, fake reviews that were negative. These businesses would get fake reviews by
Hmm.
competitors or by bots or by untruthful customers, and we used technology to be able to identify it and then dispute it automatically. And I realized, as I continued to gather data, that most of the reviews that were fake weren't negative, they were
Mm.
positive. It's like
Aha.
most fake reviews out there aren't negatively impacting business owners, they're negatively impacting consumers. And so I
Aha.
realized that my technology at the time was only addressing 3% of the problem just for my business customer, and that these consumers had no idea that there were so many fake reviews. So I was like, okay, now I'm going to spend a bunch in research and development. I'm going to create new AI models and build new metrics, and we're going to come out with a consumer protection tool. We're going to come out with a consumer protection product, and be able to solve that problem. And
Hmm.
it's been a lot of fun.
Great. And how easy did you find it to start this business? You mentioned now there's 11 of you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, at first it was me as a reputation consultant, right? I was manually identifying reviews for my customers. They were doctors or lawyers, and I would have to find the review myself and then write out the takedown letter, right? So then I realized I needed to code and learn how to do this. So I started taking courses on Python. I started taking courses and various languages to learn how to collect data and then segment it, right?
Hmm.
Essentially how to create smart filters, how to create, how to integrate data into SQL tables, and SQL databases, and how to, query that rather than trying to use, Google rather than using Google Drive and the
Yeah.
Google Sheets, right? And trying to be clever with JSON. It became so much easier to use Python in combination with a SQL database as it became bigger and we had more customers. And then we started using our own application, our own dashboard in
Hmm.
Laravel. So my team started to grow because I'm not a front end developer. I don't know how to, I didn't want to learn how to code, application dashboards. I wanted to stick to the Python, the data science part of it. So I
Yeah.
had to build onto my team, right? So I hired a front end designer, a front end developer, and we started working on the user experience of our application and how our
Hmm.
customers could log in, get their business in there, get all the reviews in there, and then have our application do its thing.
Hmm.
Um, the designer and user and front end developer that I hired back they're still with us today.
Mm.
Then I needed to hire a back end developer as we wanted to do some other functionalities that I wasn't proficient at, that my like I didn't have those coding competencies. And I wanted to start integrating into third party applications like Zapier, like Yext, and a few other third party applications. Because one of the best ways to get your application in the mix is to put yourself into an application marketplace. And the
Hmm.
only way to do that is to build API bridges, so to speak, API connections, so
Hmm.
that much larger companies can integrate with you and you can tap into that market. Um, and then from there, we started building a sales team, right? So a small sales team, and then now we have uh, I think we have two data analysts.
Hmm.
I think, and we're about to bring on a third.
So just to understand something. So your whole business model is based around an algorithm or a set of algorithms.
Multiple algorithms. That's correct.
Okay. And did you develop this based on proprietary data or like data that you just scraped from websites?
So that's a good question. So yes, scraped from websites, but it depends on which algorithm, right? So
Hmm.
we have an algorithm that scores reviews based on how likely they qualify for removal,
Hmm.
based on the terms of service of Google, based on the terms of service of Yelp, or the terms of service of TripAdvisor. We have a data set of reviews that they previously removed, which we only got by disputing them, right? So in that sense, it's proprietary because no one else has
Mm.
that data set. It's not publicly available. Um, and so we have a huge corpus of reviews that essentially are removable reviews, right? So as that data set gets larger, our accuracy gets higher, and being able to predict the types of reviews that are removable based on the reason why, because there's a lot of various reasons why a review can be removed, and yeah, it helps to have a larger. I feel like the larger it gets, the more accurate it's become over time.
Hmm. Hmm. That's very interesting. So the reason I'm asking is because I'm a big fan of studying um, business models in data science and AI startups. So there are some companies which start with proprietary data set. Other companies are focused on creating an algorithm that is better than other algorithms. Other companies try to obtain an advantage by simply targeting a certain niche in the market. So their advantage essentially exists around connections, marketing, and sales. So I guess you're mostly on the data side, right? So if a competitor wants to knock you off, then they have to go through the same process of acquiring these data, which then they could use in order to develop their own models, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We have a competitor, but it they don't really offer the exact same things. It's kind of a similar thing. The metrics are a bit off. So,
Hmm.
um, yeah, it would be quite difficult for a competitor to come in and then try and catch up to us. I certainly hope it happens one day. I'm a big believer in capitalism and how competing businesses help make each other better. By raising the bar when it comes to
Hmm.
products and service and customer service. So I think it's a good thing to have competition.
Hmm.
Right now, we don't really have much.
And do you find that your current business model helps you build a moat around the business? So, do you collect additional new data from what you're currently doing, which make the algorithm even better, or not?
Yeah, yeah. So if you think about the number of data points, right, or the number of variables or metrics that we can incorporate that are all different and dynamic based off of, the reviews, the reviewers, the businesses, um, the better the accuracy is and when it comes to predicting things, because
Hmm.
in unsupervised models there are things that as humans we're not going to be able to make sense of, because
Yeah.
we just we don't have 17 billion parameters built into our, we probably do but we're not aware of them, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the awareness within, within an NLP model, it's all pretty straightforward and they'll spell it out for you. So, in unsupervised models, the more types of data points that you can feed it, and the more accurate it can be. It has the potential to be.
Hmm.
So, yeah, we're constantly adding new models. Just last week, we had three interns at York University in Toronto. They're
Hmm.
PhD students in data science. They just finished their project with us, where they used they used the new OpenAI NLP model to create a data set of 100,000 bot generated reviews, right? Created
Hmm.
by NLP, totally fake. So they created a data set of 100,000 fake reviews, and then we gave them another data set of 100,000 human reviews, real reviews, right?
Hmm.
And then we had to create a new NLP model to be able to detect the differences between human generated content and bot generated content. And we showed the confusion matrix models and all the really cool graphs and charts and visualizations that we made. We're getting ready to try and publish that on like Data Towards Science or somewhere else pretty cool. But yeah, we're creating new metrics and new models all the time that are new and unique, to give our master algorithm kind of more
Hmm.
to play with, more to work with.
Hmm. Hmm. I see. And these days, how much time do you spend doing actual data science versus managing a company? Because I guess it's a different, they're two different things, right?
Yeah, I try to reserve at least 45 minutes to like 2 hours a day trying to
Uh-huh.
do data science, but sometimes
Okay.
it just doesn't happen. And then there would be some days where I'm crunching with the team, like 4 or 5 hours, like in sessions, we'll be doing our sprints, and they might need some help. So then I'll be able to dive in and spend a lot of time. But yeah, managing a company is also very time consuming, and
It is.
trying to build relationships, trying to manage all the finances, trying to manage all the employees and everything. It's it definitely pulls me away from my ability to spend more time,
Hmm.
coding and manipulating data sets.
Hmm. Hmm. I guess they're two different things, right? So when you and two different ways of thinking. Like one is very analytical, running a company. I guess it's different in many ways. So how long did it take you to do this this whole journey, right? From doing something completely unrelated to data science, to becoming a data scientist, to starting your own business, to now running a profitable business with 11 people.
Eh, Um, 8.5 years altogether.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what are like two or three things you learned which could help our listeners who are either thinking about starting a new business in the space of data science and AI, or they're
Mhm.
thinking about becoming data scientists, or maybe they're just excited about this space and they're like, I don't know, maybe in the future I'll try to do something, in this area.
Sure, sure. A lot of startup entrepreneurs want to use like AI in their marketing and in their sales.
Hmm.
You know, as data scientists, we know the difference between automation, which is just automation, versus actual AI, versus predictive models and other types of AI models that you train. So try and be really transparent in your sales and marketing. There's something you said earlier about niches. I think it's really smart to pick a niche that you want to
Hmm.
solve a problem for and niche down. There's an old saying that the riches are in the niches, and I believe that. I truly do. You get your marketing and your sales collateral all for that one niche. It's really personalized for them, and they're more likely to sign up and try with your MVP. MVP is the minimum viable product. In
Hmm.
case you guys don't know, and then and it helps you identify your ICP, which is your ideal customer profile, right? That's
Yeah.
that's your niche. That's the person who you ideally want to sell to. It's like your perfect
Hmm.
type of customer. And it's really easy to just build your company 1.0 with it
Hmm.
niche, with that ICP, with your MVP that solves that problem, and then slowly you can slowly expand horizontally with other niches. But you want to build up case studies, you want to build up testimonials, you want to build up
Yes.
like reviews for your business as you start to scale. And it's easier to do that just by serving one type of customer at a time. So yeah, I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, no, it definitely is, and because I think also your case is very inspiring, right? Because I think these days there are many people trying to move into tech, like I mean, switch careers or start new businesses in this area. And I think on one hand it's challenging, on the other hand, it's doable, right? If you want to do it, that's what I've been saying as well. If you really like it, it's one of those. I mean, tech. It's one of those areas which is maybe the exception where even people that they want to start a new journey in this area when in their 30s or 40s, if they dedicate a serious amount of time and effort into it, they can make it, right? And so I think that's very very important and really inspiring for many people. So that's great. So thank you. I think this was a very interesting conversation. Where before we go, where can our listeners find more about you?
Oh, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on there all the time if you want to start a conversation or learn about my career. It's all on there.
And the company's URL?
It's objection.co.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So if anyone is listening, obviously I'll be sharing details to your LinkedIn on the post that goes with this recording. So it should be fairly easy for everyone to connect with you if they wish so. So thank you, Curtis. This was very a fascinating discussion, really quite a unique journey. So thank you for your insights.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm happy to help.
Great. So thanks, everyone. Thanks for being here with us today. Make sure to visit the datascientist.com for more content around data science, AI, and blockchain. And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.